Welcome back, guys. Today we're in the Hornet Mk.III, the new British heavy fighter, which was introduced in 1.7.1 of the heavy fighter tree after the Brigand. It is a very, very powerful aircraft, rating at 25.2 meters second climb rate, which is just insane for a heavy fighter. And even though it is very light, it has a small fuselage, so yeah, technically it's a normal fighter with just two engines. Also, the rated speed at around 5,800 meters is at 756 kilometers an hour is just huge, really huge. You just outperform pretty much every plane that you face from 5.7 up to 6.7. If you're top tier, there's nobody who can catch you. Maybe if you get in a 6.7 match, yeah, the 262A2A, for example, or the P51H, maybe they will catch you, but not in a climb. Only at if you fly straight, or if they can dive on you. Yeah, sure. Especially the 2,000 meter spawn of this plane gives it a huge advantage over the enemy, because the only other plane, or the only planes that you will face with an air spawn are the Tier 152s, which spawn at 1,000 meters, and the Duel 335 spawn at 2,000 meters. But nobody of those planes can match your climb rate, so you will always be on top of anybody in this game. Only if you dive down, of course. Yeah, sure. Someone side climb, he can be above you, but as long as they don't take ages to get up to your altitude, then it's perfect. You don't have to side climb at all. You just, oh, there's the enemy. You just pick the climb path of the enemy, fly straight into the enemy climb path, and attack them from above. Most of the time, this puts them off very quickly, and the advantage of this tactic also is that you spot the enemy for your team, so your team knows where they are, and they know at what altitude they have to fight to be successful. So definitely use the climb rate of this plane for your team. Don't just ground pound or something with the Hornet. That would be a complete waste of this beautiful and very powerful aircraft. Also, the 420mm Hispano armament is something that, yeah, I think everybody would agree is pretty good, if not very desirable. This 190, I think he has no idea that I'm coming. Opening up, and we get his wing. I wasn't so anxious about this 190 behind me to ever catch up to me, because yeah, my energy state is too high in comparison to his. Only this K4 here can get a bit dangerous for me. Because he can definitely maybe stall climb up. So I get into a head-on. I shoot off some of his, well, I think the one aileron and some other stuff. Nothing too critical, but I think he will get also damaged by the P-17 and some other planes as well. I take interest in the 335, but yeah, the 335 is he's going down too quickly. I don't want to follow him, especially when so many other planes are at altitude like this 190. So I decide to use my energy to get up to altitude again. As you can see, the Hornet is very sluggish in a fight. Yeah. So not in a fight, in a horizontal, vertical maneuver. It loses a lot of its energy and speed if you try to do a loop. Sadly, that is something that you will do a lot of, because you pretty much have to get up at altitude and boom and zoom them. But you will lose a lot of speed doing this. Here I crit the K4's elevator, and yeah, he will fall down, and I'm gonna get the kill. That was also probably also the reason why I didn't die in this engagement here, because yeah, without his elevator he couldn't adjust his flight path when he were flying past me. Otherwise I'm pretty sure he would have gotten me there. But this plane is very powerful in head-ons, because at over 1 kilometer you can get always some hits in if they fly pretty straight. So definitely use that to your advantage. Now the 152 came up from behind, and I definitely didn't want him to get too close on me, because his speed was way higher than mine. Now he got some speed back, and the 190 is maneuvering against the backhand. So I decided to, yeah, I'm gonna have the backhand and use my climb rate and speed. So, start climb up, use my remaining rounds, and yeah, get the hit. And now I'm just gonna run away to base, because pretty much used all of my ammo. And yeah, the 152 is the better altitude advantage here, and the Spitfire is maybe helping the Spitfire would have been possible here, but I didn't really wanted to get into reach of the 152, who could have just jumped onto me. And with only 68 rounds left at this point, I didn't want to get involved into this, because if I missed one attack run and used up the ammo, then I was in a bad situation, and without ammo it would have been pretty bad. So I'll skip forward. At this point it looks pretty good for us, but the situation will change, as we will see later. So this is the new situation. All of my fighter friends are dead. The Iraqi guy, which is a level 100 player, definitely knew what he was doing with the 152 and raped them. Yeah. But luckily for me, all his friends died as well. I think one to the second, uh, Hornet, and one to the B-17, which must have crit the 109 somehow. And yeah, he crashed. Now, my decision making of using a blind hunt was, I wasn't perfectly sure if the 152 would fly back to base, and I wanted to be sure that I was free to climb, and yeah, he was running back to base, so I have all the time in the world to get a safe position, and I'm gonna skip forward until I actually start engaging him. And we found him. Interestingly enough, he wasn't side climbing, he just flew at mid altitude straight to our side of the map. I don't really understand why. Maybe he saw the B-29 in that direction and wanted to kill him. I think that's my only explanation for his move. Now we see that we can catch a 152 in a shallow dive. If he would have dived more steeply, I would have had to break off. But he definitely knows what he's doing. He's adjusting his course, and so with the pretty bad roll rate of this, we have problems of getting any accurate shots in. Then I evade his return fire and use my way superior energy state to just zoom away. He already burned pretty well a third of his energy in his maneuver there, and my climb rate is way better than his. At this point we are a bit in a stalemate here, because yeah, I'm above him and I can choose when I want to attack him, but he can also evade me pretty effectively with his plane. The 152 is maneuverable enough to move out of the way most of the time, especially if he uses the roll rate and it always adjusts course. Then it is pretty hard to do any reasonable attacks runs on this guy. At this point I could skip forward to the end here, but I won't do it, because I think you should see how hard it can be to fight a guy 101 who's has different possibilities with his aircraft, but on the skill level he's pretty much the same as you are, so you pretty much it evens itself out, because my plane is stronger in some parts and his is some others, and yeah. So we are doing a dance here, and everyone is trying to get behind someone or evade the other, and don't make any critical mistakes. And he's definitely doing anything in his power to use his maneuverability, get behind me. But at this point he has realized that he will not be able to get after me. So he's only resigning to evading and trying to get me to overshoot. And I think he's counting that on it that I will maybe at one point commit to a turn, and at this point he is, I'm done for. But that's, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna use speed, and I will be fine. I think this engagement really shows how important speed is in a plane cannot maneuver. Which is also good for me here. It's just the 152 engine is terrible at 1000 meters, while this Hornet performs insanely well also at low altitude. You have huge performance, huge climb rate, very good acceleration, climbing at 20 degrees. Yeah. You see how fast this plane is. He has no chance of getting anywhere near me. Now when I'm above the clouds, I'm turning again into him. 180 degree turns are a pain in this plane. They really are. So I would highly recommend only doing them if you have loads of time, enough altitude. Even stall fighting and hammerheads in this plane are not really that well, or not. It's not suited for this. You have to do moves like that in this plane pretty much because it is a boom and zoom plane, but it's not good at it. So if you're fighting against boom and zoom aircraft that is on a similar energy state than you have a big problem because maneuverability won't be good enough to match them. Always try to be at a higher energy state than your enemy. Otherwise the Hornet isn't that good. But if you stick to your energy and you stick to your speed and your altitude, you will be very successful. Very successful. In the last Corsair, Cannon Corsair game I showed, I said that the Cannon Corsair was probably the best plane that got introduced in this patch. Maybe I've stepped back from this a bit because the Hornet Mk.III is definitely a stronger aircraft. I think it is harder to fly or get kills with it, but if you're good enough at aiming Hispano cannons, and if you're good enough at boom and zooming, the sheer amount of speed and climb rate of this plane will make it easier for you to get good matches. The B-29 sadly throws away his plane, gives the 152 a kill here. I asked him in chat here why he did this, and he said, well, I couldn't do a turn, but he did a turn because he flew to the left instead to the right. Out to the water, perfectly fine, but yeah. Now I see another chance arising to get the kill on the 152, and this time I'm aiming more inwards, and I get him. So kudos to this guy. He did everything he could in his 152 to play out his strengths, but the speed and climb rate of the Hornet was just too much for him. So if you stick to the speed and climb rate of this plane and don't do anything else, you will definitely dominate a lot of games with this plane. I didn't have any 5-kill games with this plane, but I had a lot of 3 and 4 kill games in this plane. It is really powerful. I think I'm around 75% win rate with this in RB, so 75 and 80% win rates you only get with planes that are way above the enemy, way above the enemy. You also have to play them right, of course, because that's not an easy aircraft to fly like a Griffin Spitfire, which, yeah, climbs good, turns well, goes cannons, just has everything. This thing climbs better, is faster than the Griffin, definitely. But the maneuverability is nothing, really. I cannot think of any fight where I maneuvered against an enemy. So yeah, that's it for this video, guys. I hope you had this gave you a small insight of the Hornet here, and yeah, see ya.